Life in the Irish underworld has little value. Friends, relatives, fathers and sons have killed or maimed each other in their quest for control. Gone are the days when testosterone-filled young men fought with their fists to settle disputes. Anthony Kelly and his late brother Michael are described by the media as the toughest street fighters the city of Limerick has ever produced. In the 1960s, 70s and 80s, they would fight any man with their fists. But when drugs arrived in Limerick, so too did guns, and the Kellys were catapulted into a world of murder and mayhem that even they struggled to comprehend.
When I was growing up, maybe 1972, 73, and it was only petty things. Well, there was very little for anyone to do. There was no amenities, there was nothing for anyone. And today it's still the same. You're hanging around doing nothing, like. And a lot of people in those days, you wouldn't have to go to school either. A lot of people wouldn't be at school, the youth, like.
The devil finds work for idle hands, they say. As the Kellys matured, they became involved in robberies and more serious crime. As they sought to cement their reputation, rival gangs opposed them. A feud developed that resulted in an orgy of violence that claimed several lives.
Well, what happened is people went to my brother trying to get 20 pence and a fag off him, and he hadn't got it on him at the time. And they caught him by the throat and kind of threatened him. And then another brother of mine came along and gave one of them a box.
Is this Mick?
Yeah, he came along and gave one of them a box, and that's how it started, like. So it's a minor thing.
A minor thing soon escalated into Michael being repeatedly stabbed and savagely beaten in a bar. Michael was pronounced dead by a policeman at the scene, but miraculously he survived.
My brother was in there, Mike, and when he went outside, people attacked him outside and stuck glasses in him. And my mother came out of there and she thought he was dead in the ground. But he pulled through anyway, but he was in a bad way that time. He was able to get attacked by a few people.
Michael believed that a 24-year-old hard man named Thomas Coleman had glassed him in the face, and so he went to his home to confront him. When Coleman answered the door, he was stabbed to death. Michael was charged with the murder and remanded in custody to await trial. 2 months later, 5 members of the McCarthy family attacked Anthony Kelly as he sat in a bar socialising with a female friend. In the bloody battle that ensued, Tommy and Sammy McCarthy were stabbed to death.
I was just sitting down there. I was only there on my own and in the company of women, like, you know. And they came in and attacked me, and I received injuries out of it. They weren't life-threatening injuries, but I did receive injuries. And 2 of them got killed in, the people that came in. The pub was packed and it was just mayhem in the pub. They got stabbed to death, and I was accused of doing it, and I went through a trial and I was found not guilty at the trial.
Like his brother Anthony, Michael Kelly was also found not guilty of murder. Back on the streets and short of money, Michael had been approached by his old friend Eddie Ryan, an infamous thug who pioneered large-scale drug dealing on the streets of Limerick. He asked Michael if he wanted to get involved in the lucrative drugs trade. Michael shocked Ryan and many others by declining the offer and saying that he wanted to get involved in politics. He felt strongly about poverty and social injustice and wanted to help his community rather than decimate it with drugs.
Well, he in maybe 20 years ago that he went into politics. Now he had a criminal record as well, but he went into politics, and in the election he topped the poll and became an alderman in Ward 3, and a lot of people in the authority were very upset that he got elected. But my brother was a man that'd be for the ordinary people on the street, and he'd argue up their points and he'd support them in just causes and everything.
And so what happened to Mick?
Well, maybe 13 years ago, someone came into the house and shot him. He was in bed. I was arrested and my 2 brothers was arrested, and my mother. And what it was is, well, the word just says the guards putting it around, or they were involved, or we were involved to make the family even look bad.
Death had become an unwanted close companion of the Kelly family. Anthony's brother Damien was found dead in a prison cell in what appeared to be yet another murder.
And it went back to, this with the guards goes back even further to 1994, when my brother, he was only 16 years of age, he was murdered. Damien. And he got murdered in 1994. And people admitted what they'd done to him, and they were never prosecuted. He was hung in Spike Island in Cork, and there was never any prosecution. From the time he got murdered, his release date was 2 weeks. He was out in 2 weeks. He was only doing 3 months. And the file in it and what happened to him is gruesome. They tied his hands and in a cell, 3 other people, and they hung him.
Behind his back?
Hands behind his back tied.
So he couldn't have hung himself, could he?
No, and that's, they actually made statements admitting it. But they said that they tried to help him commit suicide.
Following the deaths of Damien and Michael, there was an attempt to murder Anthony outside his home. It wasn't the first attempt on his life.
Someone trying to break through my mother's window, and the guards were there. And the guards had attended the scene. I told them, I said, no, I said, when I go back up to my house, I said, there'll be someone up there, I said. They were armed, and they done nothing about it, like. And I did tell the guards. But when I went back up then, there was a gunman there with a balaclava waiting.
And where did you get shot?
Got here, and I got another one, couple here, and my leg is, so the bullets just went straight through me.
Just sprayed you?
No, it was straight through me from a 9mm handgun. It went straight through.
So how many times have you been targeted? People tried to kill you?
Well, maybe 10 or 12 times there.
In January 2011, Anthony was linked to the murder of Des Kelly and his partner Breeder Waters. Both were executed in their home with a shotgun at close range. Like all previous killings that he has been linked to, Anthony denies any involvement.
The way it was supposed to happen, and the guards tried to portray it, is that 2 people shot these people in the house over, and they passed my house or went into my house, which never happened, like. Well, what they said was there was something to do with a drug deal or something to do with that. But I can assure you it was nothing to do with me or my family. I never portrayed myself as I'm going to sit down and let someone come in and kill me, like. I'm not. And to this day, if someone interferes with me, I still do the same thing. I'll defend myself and my family.
And in October 2009, that is exactly what Anthony is alleged to have done. His daughter's boyfriend was shot in the back with a Glock semi-automatic pistol after making threats on the doorstep of Anthony's home.
I'm in bed actually that morning.
Yeah, and what happened then?
And there were shots outside. So I stayed in the house. 3 of them came to the door. And when they came to the door, then there were shots fired outside.
And one of them was shot in the back?
And one of them was shot, yeah.
Michael Lynch's mother told detectives that she followed her sons up to Anthony's house and he had told them, "If you don't take your sons away, I'll shoot them." Mrs. Lynch added, "The next thing I can remember is Anthony Kelly pulling a gun from behind his back and pointing it." She said that 3 shots were fired and her son Michael was hit in the back.
They said that, like.
Yeah.
But that was the version I said was that they came to the house firing shots and the whole lot, and I didn't shoot anyone. And I was I was arrested on the spot when the guards came, and I was forensically tested and everything, and there was no firearm residue on me, there was no firearm residue on my house, nothing. On my clothing and anything. And I was found not guilty. There's very decent guards in Limerick who do their job. And but there is an element, and these guards in Limerick who know the ones what they're doing, I reckon it's about time that they should come out and expose them and get rid of the bad apples and have a decent Garda force in Limerick.
When bad apples are exposed within any police force,